It was a cold February night in 2004 when a 21-year-old college student named Maura Murray vanished without a trace. One moment she was standing beside her crashed car on a rural highway in New Hampshire. Moments later, she was gone. No one saw her leave. There were no footprints in the snow, no signs of struggle, no phone calls, no messages. Nothing. Just an abandoned vehicle, and a mystery that would confound investigators, internet sleuths, and her grieving family for the next 2 decades. Was it a calculated disappearance? A tragic accident? Or something far more sinister? This is the story of Maura Murray, a disappearance so chilling, it became America's first viral true crime mystery. Before she became the center of one of the most baffling missing persons cases in the US, Maura Murray was just like any other 21-year-old. Born in Hanson, Massachusetts, Maura was the fourth of 5 children in a close-knit Irish-American family. She excelled in academics and was a standout athlete, running track and cross-country. Her early achievements earned her a place at the prestigious United States Military Academy at West Point. But after a short time at West Point, Maura transferred to the University of Massachusetts, Amherst, to study nursing. At UMass, she seemed like a typical college student. But in the months leading up to her disappearance, cracks began to form in her seemingly stable life. She was involved in a minor incident where she used a stolen credit card to order food. Though not a major offense, it was out of character and raised questions. She was also in a long-distance relationship with her boyfriend, Billy Rausch, a relationship described as serious but strained. And just 3 days before she vanished, Maura crashed her father's car while driving late at night. Her father, Fred Murray, had visited her that weekend and loaned her the car. The accident left her shaken. What really happened that night remains unclear. All these little events, a DUI scare, a credit card fraud, relationship stress, painted a picture of a young woman possibly reaching a breaking point. The day Maura disappeared started off as any other Monday might. She was attending classes and seemingly going through the motions. But around 1 p.m., she began taking deliberate steps that suggested she was planning to leave for a while. She emailed her professors, telling them there had been a death in the family, and she would be gone for the week. No such death had occurred. It was a lie, and no one knows why she told it. She then called a fellow nursing student to return some clinical paperwork, withdrew $280 from an ATM, and visited a nearby liquor store, where she bought a box of Franzia wine, a bottle of Bailey's, and some other alcohol. Surveillance footage shows her alone at the ATM and the liquor store. Calm, composed, not the behavior of someone in a panic. Sometime after 3 p.m., she packed up her car with personal items including clothes, books, toiletries, and even most of her dorm room decorations. She also printed out MapQuest directions to Burlington, Vermont. It appeared Maura was heading somewhere intentionally. She didn't tell her father, her boyfriend, or her roommates. She just drove off. Sometime after 7 p.m., a resident of Haverhill, New Hampshire, called 911 to report a single-car accident on Route 112. A black Saturn had crashed into a snowbank near a sharp curve in the road. A local bus driver named Butch Atwood came upon the scene. He saw a young woman who matched Maura's description standing outside the vehicle. He offered help, but Maura declined, saying she had already called AAA. That wasn't possible. There was no cell service in the area. Butch returned home and called police. By the time officers arrived at the scene around 7:46 p.m., Maura was gone. Her car was locked. Inside were her belongings, including the alcohol, some of which had spilled in the back seat, and a rag stuffed into the tailpipe. Something her father later explained was a trick he taught her to temporarily reduce smoke if the car was having exhaust issues. There were no footprints in the fresh snow, no sign that Maura had run off into the woods. She had simply vanished. At first, police didn't treat Maura's case as a criminal matter. They believed she might be a runaway or simply wanted to be alone. Her family, however, disagreed. Fred Murray drove up immediately and began searching frantically. He handed out flyers, retraced her steps, and demanded answers. The next day, cadaver dogs and search teams scoured the area. Helicopters used infrared imaging to try to detect body heat. Nothing. By day 2, the media had caught wind of the case, but information was scarce. Police still hadn't turned over the investigation to the criminal division, and Maura was still being treated as a missing adult who had left voluntarily. Fred Murray would become the loudest voice in the search for Maura. He was unrelenting. He criticized the police for a slow and disorganized response. He went door to door in Haverhill. He hired private investigators. He begged the media for attention. Despite his efforts, the case continued to stall. There were no credible sightings, no phone activity, and no use of credit cards. The last confirmed trace of Maura Murray was her car on the side of Route 112. Her family, including her sister Julie and brother Curtis, kept the story alive with interviews, public events, and eventually the help of online communities. As the years passed, theories multiplied. Some believed Maura had run off to start a new life. Others thought she may have taken her own life in the forest, and her body was never found. There were darker theories too, that she had accepted a ride from the wrong person, that she had been abducted, or that she had arranged to meet someone, and that person never intended to let her leave. The internet took the case to heart. True crime blogs, Reddit threads, documentaries, and even a popular podcast explored every possible angle. Clues were dissected, timelines scrutinized, but every answer only led to more questions. As of today, Maura Murray has been missing for over 20 years. Her case remains open with the New Hampshire Cold Case Unit. In 2021, law enforcement conducted a ground search based on new information, but found nothing. In 2022, they excavated a home near the crash site due to rumors of a buried body. Again, nothing. Every year, her family holds a vigil at the site where she disappeared. Her father still believes she was abducted. He continues to fight for attention, hoping someone, somewhere, will speak up. The case of Maura Murray has become more than just a disappearance. It's a symbol of how quickly someone can vanish in America, and how even with all our technology, determination, and noise, the truth can remain hidden. The stretch of Route 112 where Maura disappeared has become a kind of pilgrimage site. A wooden cross marks the spot where her car was last seen. Flowers are left. Notes are posted. Her story haunts the mountains of New Hampshire. And it haunts us. Maybe someday we'll learn the truth. Maybe a witness will come forward, a piece of evidence will surface, or a secret will finally be confessed. Until then, we are left with silence, snow, and one of the most unsettling questions in modern true crime. What really happened to Maura Murray?